Devin. Winterbot. Nick. Here. Kate.
Here.
Rory.
Here.
Milan. Rebecca L.
Here.
Rebecca L.
Here.
Baran.
Hello.
District John. Here. Andrea.
Here.
Elena. Mark. And Cory. Thank you.
Great, thanks Ryan. Because the minutes were sent out by our lovely Vice President last week, I would entertain a motion. And
Motion to waive the reading of the minutes.
there's a motion on the table to waive the reading of the minutes. Is there a second? Second motion. Questions to the wording? Discussion. All those in favor of waiving the reading of the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Andrew.
Motion to accept the minutes.
There's a motion on the table to accept the minutes. Is there a second? Second by Katie. Questions to the wording? Discussion. All those in favor of accepting last week's minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Thank you so much, Alan. They're quite lovely. It was
Oh, it was Hannah. Just kidding. It was Hannah. Hannah, I'm sorry. This week we have Ryan on minutes. So everyone, if you could speak slowly, loudly, that'd be great. And everything will run smoothly. Hannah unfortunately has another commitment, which is why she's not here. All right, so we're going to move down into public comments. Are there any public comments on the floor? No. Seeing that there are none, we'll move into financial matters, and we'll start with the grants report for tonight.
Okay. I move to allocate $250 from quarter 3 with a 2-week waiver to the management consulting group for the raffle to benefit Abby's House.
There's a motion on the table to allocate $250 from quarter 3 with a 2-week waiver to the management 100 group, requesting to benefit Abby's House. Is there a second? Second by Ali. Questions to the wording? Discussion, Kate?
So this management 100 came to us with the idea for a raffle to benefit Abby's House, which is a local women's shelter. And we decided that our grants felt that $250 would be enough to give out a large prize and a couple smaller prizes, which is what they wanted. Is there a representative here? Yes.
Oh, hi. Can you state your name for the minutes, please?
My name is Nina Lee. I'm from my management group. And so we're thinking about a raffle. We're having table next week, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And the price we are thinking about, since you guys could provide us $250, we're thinking about having one $100 Visa gift card, and $100 will be for $20 CVS card, and 25 high chocolate, peppercorn for 40, and acoustic java for 50. And then the last remaining of $50 will be for, we're thinking about having some candies so that people can come and support us. And also we're thinking about having some nails so that since we're supporting Abby's House, I think we can have kind of like rate up, it can be, the nails can be rateable to Abby's House. That's what we think.
Discussion, Baran?
How expensive will the raffle tickets be?
We're thinking about having $1 for one raffle and $3 for 5 raffles.
Baran?
Do you have, do you think it will be successful and how much money will raise?
We haven't really discussed yet because the groups are very busy. So.
Does this project have any other funding source?
Excuse me?
Does the project have any other funding source?
Any other funding source? We don't have another funding.
Further discussion, Lori?
I believe you guys applied for a PCF request too,
Yes.
yeah, so that's pending.
Okay, is that on the agenda tonight?
No.
Okay. Other discussion? Baran?
Do you have any publicity planned for the raffle, or are you just going to table outside the cap?
We're thinking about tabling outside, and we also heard that we can sell raffle outside of tabling too. So we're trying to have the Facebook event so that people can pay attention, and then we can have we can sell anytime.
Becca?
When do you plan on starting this raffle? Or start tabling?
Okay, we talked to Mike McKenna last week, and we're going to have tabling on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Oh, excuse me, Monday, Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
I'm kind of referring to like the date. Like, are you starting after spring break or before?
That's before spring break, like next week. And we're thinking about distributing on Thursday, the youth program.
Further discussion? Seeing that there is none, we'll move into voting. All in favor of allocating $250 from quarter 3 with the 2-week waiver to this Management 100 group, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? 2 opposed? Abstentions? 1 abstention. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Kate?
Okay, so the Unitarian Universalist Campus Fellowship came to us requesting $325 to help fund a trainer for their ongoing OWL program. So far this program has been going on for a couple weeks and it's been extremely successful. However, due to an unforeseen problem, they are unable to provide the funds to train the last person that would be needed to continue the program. So they came to us requesting this $325 to fund that final person. And there was, yes.
Hi, can you state your name for the minutes, please?
My name is Rachel Poulos. Do you want me to talk more about the program? So OWL is short for Our Whole Lives, and it's basically a sexuality curriculum designed in conjunction between Unitarian Universalist and United Church of Christ, but it's known for being very gender inclusive as well as non-heteronormative and things like that, and it carries a wide variety of topics. I believe the whole thing is either 10 or 12 weeks. I'd have to look that up. And we've already got, to do this, we found 6 volunteer facilitators, 4 of which were already trained. And originally we were going to train 2 people, and then they said someone dropped out, so we thought we only had to pay for the 1. And then since we had agreed to pay for 2 originally, the people came back and said we found someone to fill the spot and asked us to pay for it. And so it was a breakdown in communications is where it happened, but originally we were trying to raise the funds beforehand when we wanted to train the 2 people. Other than that, I would say the program's a success. I think there's about 13 registered people, and you're supposed to go to every single course. It's 2 hours every week, and every week we get about 10 people, so that some people take off due to personal conflicts. Yeah, I would call it so far very successful.
I move to allocate $325 from quarter 3 to the Unitarian Universalist Campus Fellowship.
There's a motion on the table to allocate $325 from quarter 3 to the Unitarian Universalist Campus Fellowship. Is there a second? Second by Sam. Questions to the wording. Discussion, Kate?
So just everything that Rachel just said, it sounds like a really great program, so we felt it reasonable to pay this final $325 to let the program continue.
Thank you, Kate. Further discussion? Seeing none, we'll move on to voting. All in favor of allocating $325 from quarter 3 to the Unitarian Universalist, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Kate?
I move to allocate $750 from quarter 4 to Hip Hop Collaborative.
There's a motion on the table to allocate $750 from quarter 4 to Hip Hop Collabo. Is there a second? Second by Ryan. Questions to the wording. Discussion. Kate?
So Hip Hop Collaborative came to us requesting $800 to fund both their spring show and gala. This year they're planning on doing a circus-themed show, which requires certain costumes and props that they don't have at their expense. Normally hip hop would go to their members to pay for costumes, but the members often get to keep those costumes that they would be buying. But this year, because of the nature of the show, they came to Grants to request this money because these costumes would be staying, and would be a part of the costumes that are available to all students. They also requested money to buy t-shirts for their gala performance. So we are recommending the $750 because when they came to us, they told us that the number of people that would be going to gala was lower than what they had originally expected. So the $50 reflects that number. And instead of it being a very kind of weird number that would be the exact amount, it's the $750 because they were positive how much they would be spending on the t-shirts and the final exact number of the amount of people. $750 gave them enough money to be able to buy the costumes for the spring show, props for the spring show, as well as a reasonable amount of t-shirts at a reasonable price for the amount of people that would probably be going. And there's a representative here.
So this is our first time requesting a grant for Hip Hop Collabo. This is mainly because we're trying to raise the bar this year. As Keith said, we want to participate in Gala's 10th anniversary and represent England to its fullest. And we wrote t-shirt on our proposal, however, we want to do a costume that also represents our country, England, much more than just a t-shirt with, let's say, the flag on it. Also, this year we're really trying to raise the bar in including more people in our performances. Not only, we mentioned before, we had a circus theme, not only do we want Hip Hop Collabo members, but we're including Clark students with circus theme talents in our performance as well. We have taken steps to expanding our audience base. We have reached out to the community, working closely with the Worcester B-Boys, Boys and Girls Club as well. But this time we want to include the other consortium schools. We will be actively posting flyers and posters in the other schools, hoping to reach out through hip hop to these other schools that we really don't have much connection with other than sharing the same space. This is why we want to put on a show that will really represent that intent. So I hope that clarifies.
Thank you, Anna. Kate?
And just kind of to reiterate what Anna said, for Gala, it would not just be t-shirts, it would be costumes, so that's the type of change on your sheets, and just in case council members want to make that note, that it would be more than just the t-shirts to reflect the 10-year anniversary.
Further discussion? Rebecca?
Are the costumes circus themed? Or not for Gala, but for the show they would be. That's because we would be purchasing items that are very unusual and very bizarre, not normal to hip hop. And the reason why we want to use a budget is because if we buy these objects or these items, we would keep them at Clark and let them be available to all dance groups. We all share a costume closet upstairs in Atwood. Traditionally, the reason why we paid out of pocket was because we would keep these costumes, but they were plain things like t-shirts, shorts, or shoes, something that you could use in your everyday life. However, these are going to be a little more bizarre. We have like clowns, we have mimes, we have acrobats. These aren't everyday things that you will be able to find, but there's no reason to purchase these, use them once. We want them to be here at Clark for everyone else to use as well.
So if they stay here at Clark, do you think other people will be able to use them in the future?
Yes, ma'am.
Further discussion? Seeing that there is none, we'll move into voting. All in favor of allocating $750 from Q4 to Hip Hop Collabo, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you so much. Kate?
Okay, Making a Difference Scholars came to us requesting $2,559 to put on the Just Do It event. So I'd like to allocate, or move to allocate $2,559 from Q4 to Making a Difference Scholars.
There's a motion on the table to allocate $2,559 from Q4 to the Making a Difference Scholars. Is there a second? Second by Joseph. Questions for wording? Discussion. Kate?
Okay, so the Just Do It event is a Campus Storm event that goes on every single year. So these students came to us requesting money that would buy t-shirts for all the volunteers, as well as the equipment needed to run the services, decorations for the services as well, and food for the participants. As I said, this event has had a lot of support and a lot of success in past years, which is why we felt it reasonable to grant them the full amount. And there's the representative here.
Hi. Kate summed it up pretty well. Just Do It is an annual event. It targets a lot of Clark students, and we want to make sure that all the different sites that the Clark students are volunteering at, that we're well prepared, well represented, and that everyone is safe. So the money that we're asking for, in addition to paying for t-shirts, goes to making sure we have the correct equipment for whatever tasks we're doing.
Thank you. Can you state your name for the minutes, please?
Jenny Six.
Kate?
So yeah, Jenny basically said everything. We also really like, they put a lot of effort into trying to find the supplies from multiple sources, so they definitely tried to cut down on costs that way.
Allie?
When is Just Do It Day this year?
March 31st. It's a Saturday.
Becca?
On that note, if you're interested in participating in Just Do It Day, there's a Facebook group called Just Do It Day 2012, or you can email justdoitday@gmail.com, and it'll go to Jenny or myself.
Thank you, Becca. Further discussion? Seeing that there is none, we'll move into voting. All in favor of allocating $2,559 from quarter 4 to the Making a Difference Scholars, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? One abstention. Motion carries. Thank you very much, Jenny. Kate?
I move to allocate $700 from the equipment fund to Clark Musical Theater.
There's a motion on the table to allocate $700 from the equipment fund to Clark Musical Theater. Is there a second? Seconded by Rebecca. Questions for wording? Kate?
Okay, so Clark Musical Theater came to us, requesting $700 to buy a shimmer curtain for Atwood. They came to us specifically right now because the director of Footloose really wanted this as part of the production. However, the curtain would be staying there for many years to come, and the CMT members pointed out that this curtain would be a great asset to not just CMT, but to all of the performing groups and all of the students at Clark, because it can be used for a wide range of events and performances. So we thought it was a good purchase to make. They also made sure to go to a reliable source, somebody they had used in the past, and they shopped around for multiple, cheap yet durable curtains. And there are a couple numbers here. Hi.
I'm Tyler from CMT. Basically, the point is Atwood really isn't a theater made for performances. It's not built for a performance to be made in it. And so we're just taking the steps this year to make it more performable in it. And a shimmer curtain is one of the basic curtains that most theaters have in them. It's almost as similar as like the red curtain that goes across. It just goes in the back. It's made of like the materials balloons are almost made of, and it's just like a pretty background. Light hits it really well, and you can go in and out of it. And it's durable for almost any dance performance, any like Clark's Got Talent. It's just a pretty background when you don't want to look at the ugly like ripped black background. And it's going to cost us about $800 and some odd, but we have leftover money in our set fund that we pushed aside, so the $700 goes towards covering what we can't cover with that budget.
You pretty much covered it.
Yeah, so like you said, it's from a reliable source, Rose Brand. It's fireproof, important for a theater. Yeah, and so yeah, CMT would be in charge of maintaining it, but it would be set up with the rigging. We would be putting it up, all installation, we'll do it. And it would just be attached to the rigging, so anyone could use it if they want to.
But if someone needs it down, it's easy to remove and just pack away, and we can keep it in our storage space.
Further discussion? Rebecca?
Do you guys know how to set it up, or do you have to come to physical plan?
No, we can set it up.
Can you state your name for the minutes, please?
Chelsea Crispin?
Further discussion? Seeing none, we'll move into voting. All in favor of allocating $700 from the equipment fund to Clark Musical Theater, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Kate?
Okay. I move to allocate $250 from quarter 3 with a 2-week waiver to the Management 100 group putting on the raffle to benefit the church that supports LGBTQ refugees.
There's a motion on the table to allocate $250 from quarter 3 with a 2-week waiver to the Management 100 group for their raffle. Is there a second? Second by Rebecca. Questions to the wording? Discussion. Kate?
Okay, so this Management 100 group came to us with the idea of a raffle to support a church that, as they put it, supports LGBTQ refugees who have been chased out of their countries. They wanted to do a raffle as sort of a simple event to raise money and awareness. So kind of keeping in mind the other requests that we had gotten for a raffle, we decided to allocate $250 for similar reasoning. They too requested money for a larger prize as well as a couple smaller ones. And I believe there's a representative.
Hi, yeah, my name is Sean Paul Fitzgerald. Just to reiterate, basically, at the suggestion of our TA in class, she's familiar with the local church that basically what they do is they house refugee LGBTQ people from other countries, because in other countries the slide accepted to be homosexual, or they're not as liberal with their sexual preferences. So their lives are threatened, and a lot of the times the only option is to leave their country. And so this church, they provide them a shelter, clothing, food, and therapeutic services in order to really help them work out the problems they experience in their own country. And originally we were considering a clothing drive and canned food drive as well. However, upon meeting with the head pastor, she mentioned that while that is totally appreciated and beneficial to the church, money is more important, because you can't really pay for the expensive therapeutic services with food or anything like that. So we just figured, why not have a raffle and give the students some incentive with prizes, which is why we're here requesting money. We have been going around to local stores the past week asking for donations. However, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but they have a lot of the bigger chains like Big Y and everything like that. They like a couple weeks to process the request and get back to you. And the deadline's coming up soon, so we want to play it safe and have money to allocate for prizes in case we don't get enough donations, and also so that we can, because chances are we won't get one over $50, for example. So we'd like to allocate $100 to get a basic Kindle or something like that, something to provoke Clark students to buy more raffle tickets. And yeah.
Thank you. Discussion? Seeing none, we'll move on to voting. All in favor of allocating $250 from quarter 3 with a 2-week waiver to this management 100 group, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Kate? Great. We're going to move on to the financial committee's report. Andrew?
Right, so finance committee is currently working on the spring audit process. We've gotten through the audit process. We're contacting groups that are in violations of government regulations. We're discussing the different offers that we've gotten and deciding if we're going to waive the regulations in certain cases. And we'll have our report next Wednesday.
Great. That's good. Thank you very much, Andrew and the finance committee. We're going to move on to student life, so organizational committee. Rory?
Okay, it was actually a rather big week for organizational committee in terms of PCFs. Unfortunately, I was separated from my computer until relatively recently, so I didn't have time to update this. But I had time scrolling down. So we had 7 PCF requests last week.
Rory, can you send those out in an email after?
Yeah, for sure. We had a G&T leadership retreat that we gave $150 to, and a management 100 group, the games on screen, we gave $220 to. All kinds of girls, their mentor bonding activity, we gave $300. Another management 100 group, the Huck Hunger group, we gave $250. The Cubs movie, we gave $150. The Eco Rep Stargazing, we gave the very specific amount, $143.72. The 50-50 screening, we gave $250, and unfortunately the American Red Cross and Public Health, we could not, they had a measles initiative, and we unfortunately could not fund that because it was retroactive. It happened before our meeting. That was unfortunate. So this week we allocated $1,313.72, which brings our grand total in our budget to $5,572.02.
Can you repeat those two numbers?
So this week we spent, or allocated, $1,313.72. That brings the budget to $5,575.02.
Thank you very much. Other things to report on?
We've got to start planning a event, so that will be the works next or tomorrow, I guess, at our meeting. And we will hear from Devin at some point about the space allocations. So that's what's coming.
Very exciting. going to move on to judiciary report. Andrew? Nothing to report. Then we're going to move on to internal business. Alrighty, so first and foremost, I have very exciting news. I know I've come to you before with this same exciting news, but it's for serious this time. And it's that First Truly and any one of you that would like to can have your voice on the air starting next week from 6 to 7 via RockU. So if you're interested, please talk to me. If you have any ideas, I'm thinking the show is going to be about what's happening at Clark, what's happening in Worcester, interviewing clubs, interviewing student council people, etc., with some music bumpers in there, because I don't know if I can talk straight for an hour. But yeah, so that's the plan. If anyone's interested in working with me, please let me know. I saw Kate first.
Are you going to rap?
If there's enough call for it, possibly. Andrew?
Can you please?
If everyone tunes in, then I can do that. Moran?
Can we use my music as music bumpers?
Yeah, let's talk. Are you saying that I don't have good music though?
I'm sure your music's great.
Okay. Sounds good. So yeah, anyone that wants to work with me on that, please let me know. It's going to be super exciting. And B, thank you everyone who volunteered to work the LEAP launch. And there's a training session that can happen on Monday or Tuesday, the 27th or the 28th. I just need to know good times for everyone. So if all those interested in working on LEAP can stay after the meeting, we can coordinate times for training so we know what we're doing when we're leaping around. On LEAP Day, which is the 29th of February, i.e. next Wednesday. So please spread the word. There will be a Facebook group, a Facebook event that is going to be started soon after this meeting. And yeah, please feel free to attend. Any questions about LEAP in general? No? Okay. Sounds good. I think we all know what it is right now. Alrighty, that's my report, and I'm going to hand it over to Miss Allie. I have nothing to report. Thank you, Allie. And Ryan?
I have nothing to report.
Wow. Okay. And Hannah also has nothing to report, and she's not here. So we're going to move down to the elections committee. Rebecca?
Okay, so I guess there's a lot to discuss. So first, the debate. Attendance wasn't superb, but the debate happened. No, we don't remember. It was fun for those who were there, though. You know, your times. Basically, I mean, questions were asked and answered. Just an update on the election. Somebody who was running for secretary dropped out. Her name was Alyssa Lagrasso. So all the people running now are currently on student council. So that's off of that. If you have questions about that, you can ask later. Elections publicity request.
For communications, we'd like elections to be publicized. I saw the event actually today, which was awesome. But if there are any ideas about how to publicize within the next week, especially because elections are going to be on the 1st and 2nd, which are the days leading up to spring break. So if anyone has any ideas, Rebecca?
Can we talk about that?
Cool.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So new grants members, and maybe Ryan can speak a little bit more about this. We had a whole bunch of interviews last week for a bunch of different positions, and the new people on the grants committee are Ivy and Scott. Ivy is a sophomore, Scott is a first year. I don't know if Ryan were there at the meeting today, if you want to talk a little bit more about that.
Sure.
Or Kate?
Oh, no, I was just gonna say they're awesome.
Okay.
Ivy was there today, and Scott was unable to make it, but he still gave us extra back.
Yeah, I just want to thank elections for doing that so promptly. We only asked about a week ago and it happened. And as Kate said, Ivy, many of you know she was on student council last year, served on the finance committee. Scott is my resident and came to me last night at around 11:30 with the full grants agenda and went through it item by item and was very deliberative and then emailed all of his thoughts to Kate, even though he couldn't make the meeting, which is dedication that works at least Lisa's heart.
He does have a great work ethic, which is why.
Yes, thank you very much for those super members.
And the other new appointments, we have I'm trying to think of people. We have elected people to undergraduate academic board, drug and alcohol committee, and commencement committee. So we had a lot of work in the past few weeks, but all the appointments are made. So we're good to go.
Would you like to move to confirm any of those appointments?
Can I do the next meeting? Because there's like some stuff still with like administrators.
Sure. All right, we can move on from elections committee. Thank you for your hard work on the debate. And just to note now, student council has a YouTube account, so the debate is on the YouTube account. Get excited, that's all I can say. These meetings will also be on the YouTube account, so yeah, I'll talk about that a little bit later. Anything else from elections committee?
No.
All right, communications? Oh, Andrew?
Just a point of correction, is it
Sure.
CNN or CCN?
Oh, yeah. I'm not feeling well. That's
They get the same amount of viewers, so.
Boom.
Okay. Becca, if we could approve at least the grants committee members
Oh,
so that
okay,
they
sure.
can have voting privileges.
Oh, okay, sure. So I move to approve Ivy and Scott as members of the grants committee.
There's a motion on the table to approve Ivy and Scott to grants positions. Is there a second? Second by Jean. Questions to the wording, discussion, Becca?
I mean, they are great people, great work ethics, and that's why.
Both of them were interviewed last.
What's that?
Nick?
Both of them were interviewed, so essentially we thought it would be best to appoint them to the given position. So I hope they'll do their responsibilities well.
Here, here. Further discussion?
Is that
Great. We will now move into voting. All in favor of appointing Ivy and Scott to grants committee, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Becca?
There's two other positions that we could appoint, and then there's two that like I can't yet, but if you want me to do that.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so I move to appoint Josh Berger and David Polanski to the drug and alcohol committee.
There's a motion on the table to appoint Josh Berger and David Polanski to the alcohol and drug committee. Is there a second? Second by Andrew. Questions on the wording, discussion, Rebecca?
Also, they were interviewed and had an interest in this committee and working with Jason Zaleski to come up with a new or different alcohol policy and what they're going to bring for the new first year class. So they're really excited to get started, and I've talked to Jason and he's excited, so that's
Nick?
Be happy, no more alcohol in you next year probably.
No more what?
alcohol EDU. Well, probably next year, but the alcohol EDU programs, the
Our
programs are
contract
gonna
with
switch.
Nice. Nick?
Well, the reason why this committee was created was to find different solutions on alcohol use because Clark's contract apparently with that website is running out this year, so they need to come up with different idea.
I think one of the solutions is also keeping alcohol EDU, so. No word yet. Further discussion? All those in favor of appointing David and Josh to the alcohol and drug committee, please say aye. All those opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you very much, Becca. Anything else? Cool. Alrighty, we're now going to move into communications committee report. Rebecca?
Okay, so there was a Facebook page created today for the e-board elections, and I tried to add, between me and Sam, we tried to add everyone on student council, but we might have missed you or not have been friends with you on Facebook. So if you could go onto the Clark web page and join, it's open, and then invite all of your Clark friends, that would be fantastic.
Cool.
Yeah.
Any other publicity that we should be aware of?
We're just making some slides.
Yeah, PowerPoint.
Sam?
Slides, PowerPoint, we do basic PowerPoint slides and stuff. Send out.
Further discussion? Or no? Okay. Anything else, Rebecca?
If anybody needs anything done, email me.
Cool. Thank you very much. That's a very broad request.
Oh, well.
Way to talk.
Alrighty. There is no unfinished business to discuss the proxy bylaw that Sam created and was emailed to you around last week, and it's on the back page of your agenda. So Sam, if you'd like to discuss it, or perhaps make a motion.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a move to, we want to recess for 5 minutes to give people a chance to review it, or just none?
I think does anyone feel like they need a 5-minute recess to read it? No? Okay, I think it was sent out last week, so I think everyone should have gotten a chance. Sam?
So I guess I move to approve this bylaw. I make a motion to move this bylaw.
There's a motion on the table to approve this bylaw. Is there a second? Second by Joseph. Questions to the wording? Discussion. Sam?
Well, I guess I'll start off saying that the idea of the bylaw is to allow members who are unable to attend for a short period of time to pick a proxy. Ideally, it would be someone from the judiciary to act as a proxy. And then I probably would want to be one of the first people to mention that it's probably not perfect, because it's hard for one individual to completely represent another individual's views. But I think this is a really close. I think this is probably like the best option in terms of having proper representation.
Discussion on this bylaw. Nick?
I have a question regarding section 3, because mostly what voting is done on council meetings is related to financial matters. And as I'm aware, like financial issues are solved several hours before meeting. So essentially, agenda isn't updated directly. So it's basically done before meeting. So only problem I see with it is that people may not be able to have thoughts of because due to time constraints.
Kate, do you want to speak to that?
Just give me some donation grants.
Well, explain the grants. Do you want to explain how grants puts agenda items?
Okay. Well, we meet from 4 to 6. So I guess what Nick is saying is somewhat true, because we do meet from 4 to 6 on Wednesdays. So I have to put together the agenda information between 6 and 8, which does leave a small window for that potential proxy members to be able to review the agenda, because we do discuss it generally sometimes up until 6 o'clock. And I try to get it in by 7, but even if I get it in by 7, that still only leaves an hour of time to be able to discuss it. So
I'm going to take a speakers list, so everyone that wants to talk. Okay. Andrew first.
Right. I understand the issue that we have here with making sure that council members are able to speak and vote and have their voice heard on council. However, I believe, as Sam said, this isn't perfect, and the major flaw in this is that I believe it's strictly unconstitutional. There's the basic contradiction of when you sign up to be a judiciary member, you know that you're not going to have a vote, and allowing as legislators, we debate the law and write the laws, and the judiciary decides on the constitutionality of those laws. And with the fact, what this bylaw effectively does is that it allows legislators to take their power that is derived from their constituents and give that power, that voting power and influence, to a person who isn't technically even allowed to receive that power. So I think fundamentally this is a flaw, and our Constitution needs to be upheld. There's also some wording problems that I have with it. In section 1 it says a member of council. It's not specific to class representatives, hall representatives. I'm concerned that does this also mean people from the student activities board, people from other student council affiliated groups, or even appointed members of grants committee? Are they allowed to appeal to judiciary, then have judiciary members sit in and represent them on those committees? That's also something that has to be considered. Also, it says for a legitimate reason or reasons. That's incredibly vague, so I don't feel that we should circumvent our constitution for vague reasons. I think that needs to be further delineated as to what that means. Again, the phrase "voters speak in his or her place as a proxy" that undermines the basic separation between judiciary and voting members of council. There's some concerns with the fact that there's the term for council member, and just for the sake of language congruency, they say the bill says member of council, council member, and then refers to his or her. So it could be slightly confusing as to who's being referred to in which sentence. I also have a specific problem with the phrase "he" or "she." Just from a gender identity aspect, we should take that out and be accepting. If we're looking for fair representation, which is the ideology behind this bill, we should have the bill representing everybody and not be kind of stuck in the old gender identity setting. Also, it says that they have to confer before the meeting. It doesn't give a specific time set. Does that mean 6 days before the meeting, 5 minutes before it? And specifically through finance committee and budgets and grants and other information issues that we debate here. The information arises during the meeting, and sometimes 5-10 minutes before the meeting. Our reports often aren't printed until right before the meeting. So that puts the proxy and the representative both in a bad position because they're not going to be able to represent and make proper decisions based on information that they don't have.
Is that all, Andrew?
That's my thing, is that there's specifically with Article 3, Section 6.3 and Article 3, Section 6.4, it goes against our Constitution, so I would urge that we vote no on this to uphold the tradition of our institution.
I have Ron next.
Yeah, I'd echo those sentiments. I think you covered my concerns pretty clearly. I have one question concerning if this were to pass in a hypothetical situation, if this never happens, perhaps council, not enough members are able to quorum. If a representative were to be represented by one of the judiciary members, would that then count as a quorum, or because that body not being put?
Was that answered?
Yeah.
Okay. Nick? No? Sam?
All right, to address the list of issues brought by Andrew, it would have been nice if he emailed me, so I probably could have pulled it over before reading that. But first of all, I mentioned that I am very open to friendly amendments. I know my grammar is definitely below par, and I'm more than happy to amend and to take friendly amendments to make it for it to be more sex, make it more responsive, make it more refined, and to make it more appropriate for modern day gender roles. To hit the legitimate reason, I left that purpose to the decision behind that, because it would be, I think it'd be very hard for you to list every single possible legitimate situation, and the level of it would, and so I left that day because I was going to put it up to judiciary's views, the judiciary to have that decision on what is a legitimate reason. Second, the time clause also vague for the same reasons previously mentioned. Katie says, it is kind of hard to get all the information you can get all the information involved in financial matters. Because getting those decisions as trying to get the things there, so to get that information, I think it's very important to keep a time slot open. And to just kind of wrap it up, I'm putting this forward not just to annoy people or piss off people, because I want to represent my constituents in the best I can. And I'm kind of in some way pushed to do this because previously we all made the agreement not to move the time slot. And I believe we're gonna stick to principles like kind with, on when we have a meeting. We should really also keep the principles of representation, which I think is equally, is more important than time slots.
All right, Joseph?
I think the biggest thing that I'm thinking about when I think of this is I guess the implications and repercussions it has with the laws in our own constitution, especially with the position of judiciary members. I'm not sure how it's going to conflict or how it kind of goes with everything else. It kind of feels like there are a lot of, like what Andrew was saying, especially with like the voting rights of judiciary members, which they really don't have. So I'm wondering, there's really so much conflict there because it's already there. So I'm wondering, what's that going to, how's it affect everything?
Thank you, Joseph. Kate?
I don't know how to phrase this to keep it so then, what we can do, but I just wanted to hear judiciary's sort of opinion on the bylaw, if they felt comfortable giving it. Because you guys are so central to what's being presented, I just wanted to hear your thoughts, if you felt comfortable presenting.
I actually have Elena next on the speakers list.
I'm going to speak.
Okay, go for it.
When I met with Sam to look at the bylaw and talk it over with him, prima facie, I found it constitutional. I understand that there might be an issue with Article 3, Section 6.4, and if you were to submit an appeal based on that particular clause, I'd be more than happy to hear it. But I think as things stand, I'm okay to let it go to vote.
Can you explain to us where section 3.6.4, because I think we have different numbering.
On the PDF, it's page 9. Well, I'm talking about
This one about
constitution.
okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, Elena, would you like to speak?
I was going to say the same exact thing. Judiciary is anti-constitutional. There is nothing unconstitutional about the bylaw per se. If you have a problem with a specific section of the bylaw, just come with the appeal. But as it is written right now, it is constitutional.
I'm Ryan next.
I think a lot of the concerns Baran and Andrew, I guess Joseph as well brought up, are legitimate. But my concern is not so much with judiciary members being the proxies, though there are issues with that, but it's with the concept of proxies at all. I think that fundamentally in a representative government, a certain person is elected representative, and I being one of them, I elected Sam, my sophomore class representative, because I thought he was best suited for the role. And I would feel uncomfortable if someone was delegated that position on a week-to-week basis. And I think different constituencies would feel the same way. So I think that, as difficult as that may be, I think that a proxy system of any form is very, very tricky to navigate and very tricky to navigate well. And so we would be best off by voting no on this bylaw.
I was just want to try to respond to everyone. In terms of representation, we did have proxies represent board members during the allocation. We had conflicts of interest, and that was a situation where I didn't hear any real problems of proxies coming up. My second thing to address Ryan's view is that while some people may be unhappy with me not being able to represent my constituency for less than half an hour at a meeting, they also, I'm pretty ability for me to trust in my judgment, and I would also argue that some people would believe, as I think that some of my constituents that I talked to about this have said that they're okay, that their trust, their vote was a trust in my judgment. I guess it comes down to a question whether or not my judgment is consistent of putting trust in someone else. And that is, I think that's where Ryan's question's coming from, and that's my response to it.
Okay, thank you, Sam.
In the case specifically where we allocated the surplus funds, from what I understood, it was an ad hoc committee that was formed, not a individuals being cited as a proxy. Also, from a constitutional standpoint, Article 6.3 says that a council member can't hold two positions on one council, or on the council at the same time. So that, in a sense, I would believe kind of handicaps judiciary as it would make them slightly a representative and a judiciary member at the same time. So it also puts them in a bad position. Then I think also fundamentally, when it comes to running and operating a democracy, our system of democracy exists whether we as individuals, Andrew or Kate are here, or somebody else is in our position. Where the power comes from is the people that we represent. We're placeholders to represent that vote and that will of the people. And we don't have the right as legislators to give that to somebody else. I think that's a fundamental, contradiction with the point of our democracy. And then to also give it to somebody who I have a problem with, I don't believe that they can receive it. As a legislator, I don't think we can give that vote to somebody else. We were put in a position to make votes and not to give that vote away.
Ivor on next.
I think the point was brought up before, but I find it difficult that the proxy would be able to represent in a good manner the opinions and criteria of the individual who's there. I'm not sure how other people prepare for student council. Like, I have a busy day, I don't get the information until I come here, so a lot of my decisions are based on what I hear during discussion. And it's hard to relay that information beforehand, I think.
Just to note, if there is a need for this information to be disseminated to 3 days in advance, I can't speak for Grants because Grants has the meeting, but that's something I'd be willing to work with and put in the agenda, if that's what this comes to. But, okay, I have Kate next.
I guess I just kind of wanted to come from a different place and saying, I think it's that Sam is coming from a really great place, and that I really love that these ideas are being thrown around in council, and sort of the spirit of what this bylaw is trying to achieve, but just kind of taking into account what other people have been saying here. I think that this conversation should continue, but perhaps under the circumstances of this bylaw, perhaps it isn't the best forum in which to discuss it. And maybe if we can find another way to discuss it, that would be more so of a brainstorming forum or a conversation not necessarily directed straight to this bylaw. It'd be really productive. And then so I just kind of say that maybe that would be a different way to approach this. And I think that both sides would be able to possibly agree with that. So just keep that in mind.
Right, and council does have the power to create ad hoc committees, and certainly we could create an ad hoc committee about this. That's within our rights. I have Andrew Young next.
I'd appreciate if council would refrain from hearing or making arguments concerning the legality, the constitutionality of the bylaw, given that that's a decision that will be made jointly by judiciary, and probably we shouldn't be considering what judiciary's joint decision would be prior to it being made.
Joseph?
First, I want to really thank Sam for taking the time out of his busy week schedule to actually write this up and conceive it. So I want to thank you for that, Sam. I just want to, I think I agree with both Andrew and Kate. I think that's a great idea, Kate. Having some sort of forum to actually brainstorm ideas. I think that would be very useful in this situation. I also want to agree with Andrew as well, with sort of the idea of transfer of powers, especially with positions like class representatives and hall representatives, where we, as individuals, really know what our constituents really want, because we do have our listers that we email weekly, we know what their opinions are. So I think in that sense, it does become a little tricky. And I think communities are very capable, but just the idea that we have our own constituents that we're on a weekly basis constantly finding out what their thoughts and ideas are, especially when it comes to voting matters.
I have Sam next.
I can say again, I think everyone taking it serious, or I guess I've been reelected by the same constituency to be here. They've not proven it. In my case, I've not had a problem with people disagreeing with my judgment. I haven't had. I feel my constituents trust me. I feel in most cases, most constituents would trust their council members in choosing someone else to represent them in a temporary period of time. I was just also mention everyone here talking about selling, like the idea of like me selling away my position. I'm not. If anything, it's a temporary borrowing. As I said in the first clause, for 30 minutes. It's not. I'm not giving away the entire. The person's not giving away the entire meeting. But in terms of all the like the writing, the wording, I am more than happy to change it. I think it's very important. Something that's very important to me. I have my constituency be represented. We already have like all my hall reps who have the overlap of my constituency is not here right now, which is another case. I would love to get as much feedback on this, and I'm really willing to approve to get something done. But there's a timely issue here as well. I don't want to have to be missing any more meetings. I have to miss like big decision-making meetings while all this is going on. And this would also help try to solve the problem of people being unable to show up to meetings. It's not just me, but people in the future have problems with that same representation problem. That's something that hasn't been brought up. We already talked about the negative things that can happen in the future. I just want to point out that it's very possible. Like whoever someone comes in a few years from now and has the same problem I'm having. I'm not trying to skip out of class. I purposely chose this class because I wanted to go in and manage student council. It's part of my major, and it's an issue of representation. This is vital for representation. If we're not going to budge on time, it means scheduling time conflicts.
Okay, thank you, Sid.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I have Rebecca next.
I think that the theory behind this idea is actually good, because I do recognize that in Sam's situation, he has no one else here to represent his class, which is a problem. Except for I don't think that this exact bylaw might be perfect, but maybe just like proposing like an idea that everybody could just think about, if it's even possible. Maybe we could all just like have understudies. Like, so if like someone drops out, like another person can come in. I don't know if that's like a possibility, but I think that would be like a really good idea. And if somebody can't attend a meeting, then like the second person could come in. I don't know. Just for future reference.
Thank you. We're going to move on to Ryan.
I have a question for judiciary. Just because I don't understand. When a bylaw is passed, if it contradicts a previous section of the Constitution, even if it contradicts, rather, a previous section of the Constitution, does the new bylaw take precedence in future judiciary decisions? Or is there a requirement that bylaws, before they're even passed, be compliant with the current Constitution?
I'm not sure totally understand your question.
Okay.
Let me attempt to answer. So let's say hypothetically this bylaw passes, and further hypothetically an appeal is made based on Article 3, Section 6.4. Further hypothetically, the judiciary finds that yes, indeed, the bylaw does violate that particular section of the Constitution. In that case, the bylaw would be nullified and it would be stricken the set of bylaws.
Okay. So at all stages in the process, the bylaw must comport. It doesn't amend the Constitution. It has to comport with the Constitution at all stages, including when it's proposed.
Right.
Okay.
The judiciary decision applies retroactively to the passing of legislation. Turns out that legislation was never passed because it was
and proactive. Right. In that sense. Okay, thank you.
Thanks. I have Andrew next.
Yeah. As to address Andrew's question before of requesting judiciary to take a look at issues, I actually hadn't been able to look at this before. before yesterday, today, so I didn't have time to do that. I think it also speaks to the issue of availability of information that we face. Also, this isn't, I just want you guys to understand from where I'm coming from, this isn't, a personal attack at any specific councilman. This is a problem with I think this is a major break from, the policy that we've had from years in the past, and we need to take it under strong consideration, and also what it means for, as I noted, going forward, 5, 10 years from now, what does that mean for the institution of student council, and what does that mean for how we, cooperate and how we work together. And I think that just how it may affect the future, we need to look closely to our decisions that we're making.
Just to clarify, I believe this was sent out last Thursday. Okay, we have Kate next.
I just kind of wanted to reiterate some things from before, also taking into account what Rebecca's office has just said, sort of that creative thinking of, really taking into consideration what Sam is trying to do here and really thinking if we're doing that. And coming from more of a position of taking that idea, and even if we don't all agree on it as a fundamental idea, but more so just approaching it as different ways to approach dealing with it, I think is a great way to approach this specific bylaw. So yeah, just kind of reiterating. And also thanking judiciary for presenting themselves in the way that they did, just showing that you guys do support this for specific reasoning, and that should factor into our decision.
We neither support nor oppose.
Well, I mean, that you find it to be constitutional and voicing that.
Making sure.
Yeah.
That's the end of my speakers list. Ryan, Sam?
To follow up on them, I think that little exchange speaks to exactly why this particular model as drafted is a little problematic, because judiciary does an extraordinarily good job of remaining unbiased and not taking positions on issues, and I think the membership is really excellent at that. And if we put them in a position where they're having to, week in and week out, vote on issues that come before council, that severely compromises their ability to do their principal job, which is exactly what they're doing tonight.
Sam?
I guess I see where things are going already, but I just wanted to mention that issues of representation has already been a problem with this council already. And we received that, and we had received that in the press because of, when we change the meetings, we have a lack of representation here as we speak. And I think this would, I really don't want to have to lose this and wait for some other time, wait for a couple more meetings, come up with something. If I get some guarantee that there was some way I could represent that the class of 2014 would be properly represented, I could get some type of guarantee for that. That is a problem that I'm having, and I would be more than I would. If there was a guarantee that we would have an ad hoc committee, I would withdraw my proposed bylaw. If there would be an ad hoc that would have a timeline that could come to this problem, we could kind of resolve this problem in that conflict.
Further discussion, Rebecca?
Is it possible that we get other secretaries?
I think that's something that you'd have to write a bylaw for and then see if it was constitutional or not, and go through the process. Further discussion on this issue? Kate?
Sorry, I don't know. Well, okay. Just kind of going off of what Sam said about it being a timeline. I want to respect the fact that there are members here that want to be represented and they want to be represented. Now and that it is a timely thing, but also keeping in mind that what we are talking about would be to change council, 4 years to come, and that this would be a decision that would affect multiple years, and therefore maybe it does deserve to have more time dedicated to it, because it is something that will be written into our constitution and a part of council, forever potentially. And so although I think it is good to keep in mind that, we do want to represent council members right now, also thinking that because it would be a part of our our Constitution, it would be going on for years and years. And I think that something of that nature deserves a lot of time and a lot of thinking and a lot of brainstorming to go into it.
Sam?
I would maybe just reiterate, I wouldn't want I would want energy. I would want to have some type of, I mentioned timeline, but the more important thing is actually having people who would be willing to support me to make this bylaw. Because it was just me and Andrew working together on this, just writing it out. And I thank Andrew for standing by me and doing his best to make sure I didn't put anything that was too wrong. We went back and forth a few times. I appreciate the work he and Luciari has done for me, helping me with this. But I just would really, it's very important for me to make sure that I get, if I can get some type of, just some reassurance from council that I would get help if this gets shot down, which I'm getting the feeling it will. If it gets shot down, I will be willing to get someone, people who would say on the word, who would support me to try to solve this problem.
Further discussion? Andrew?
No.
Oh. Steve? Andrew, yeah.
Right, I agree with Sam on the fact of representation. I think we, as a tenant of our institution, we all believe in fair and equal representation. That's something we all work for. However, I'm a bit fearful of passing a bylaw that's it handcuffs and kind of restricts both for the proxy and representative on just the basis of how they're going to vote, how they're going to pass the information along. And there could be, numerous problems that arise with that situation. I believe that, we believe in the same thing. So I just think to pass a bylaw that isn't properly delineated and isn't necessarily fully, examining the ramifications that it could have and the actual restrictions on representation that it can have. Those need to be looked at before we pass anything.
Ryan?
Move to enter voting procedure.
There's a motion on the table to move to the previous question. Is there a second? Second by Veron. Questions to the wording? Discussion? Ryan? No discussion, sorry. All those in favor of moving to the previous question and ending voting, or ending discussion, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Okay, so we're now going to be voting on this bylaw. So all those in favor of approving this bylaw, please say aye. All those opposed?
Whoever made the motion needs to vote for it, and whoever seconded it.
I misheard. I was talking.
All right. One more time. All those in favor of approving this bylaw, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Any abstentions? No abstentions? Motion fails. Okay. I think that this is a very complex issue, and I would be interested in seeing if members would be interested in working on an ad hoc committee with Sam, Rebecca.
Was that Tommy?
You'd be interested in working on a committee?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Other people interested? Andrew and Kate? Great. I think it's really good when there are two opposing sides sitting down to think creatively about something, so I'm excited to see what the outcomes of this will be. And certainly thank you, Sam, for your hard work, and Andrew and Judiciary as well. All right, we're going to move on to the second point on new business, which is just, I already talked about, and I very much apologize for the typo. But our meetings are on YouTube, thanks to CCN, and I will be posting links on all of your Facebooks, so and then my third item is something that's fairly serious, and that's that unfortunately Leo had to resign. He is just a bit bogged down with schoolwork, and unfortunately can't make the commitment to student council that he previously was able to, so we wish him well, and good luck, Leo, if you're watching this. And yeah, that's all I have for new business, unless there's any discussion. Rebecca? Yes, definitely. But we'll move on to last words then. Jean?
I just have a question because I missed last week's meeting.
we know when to get information for the Sean Kingston concert?
Kate?
They're on sale upstairs unless you have membership and programming open. They're $15.
Ask me about it.
Please come and buy them.
I have.
Well, seniors are excited.
Further discussion? All right, Joseph?
I think it would be best that to you guys, this would be my last meeting as a student counselor. I've been offered a couple internship possibilities that would allow me to like work closer with the political scene here in Worcester. So the fact that I've also got a second job, just not enough time in the day. I'm tired as it is. I can barely like keep up. It sucks because I really enjoy working with all of you. You've all made my time here in council very, very enjoyable. I really hope that this isn't the last time I get to work with you all.
Thank you, Joseph. You've been a great asset to us. And we'll definitely miss you. And please don't be a stranger. Anyone else? Ally?
I move to adjourn.
Motion on the table to adjourn, second by Jean. Questions for discussion?